Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 million by 1 million strategy roundtable for entrepreneurs. 1M1M, as you know, is the first and only global virtual accelerator in the world. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million in revenue and beyond, build $1 trillion in global GDP and 10 million jobs. And in support of that mission, we've been doing these roundtables, free mentoring roundtables, since the fall of 2008. September 2008 is when we started tinkering with this format. So this is the 396th session. Can you believe that? We have our 400th roundtable coming up, and the registration is already open. You're very welcome to sign up for that. You know, typically, when we started this experiment, we were doing just entrepreneur pitches. Along the way, I think around 2014, we introduced guests. So I would say if you look at the recordings from 2014 fall onwards, I would say 95% of the roundtables have a guest, usually. And then we have entrepreneur mentoring as well. So that has become kind of the more popular format. Today, I'm going to do something a little bit different. One, I have a little less time today than usual, but I also want to cover something important that has come up a lot recently in private communication, so I wanted to address that in a roundtable and take questions on it as well. So I'll come to that in a moment. The event is being recorded. You will have a recording available on our YouTube channel, 1M1M Roundtables. Now, this channel is chock full of roundtable recordings. So you will have an incredible amount of learning material, and this is free, by the way. So if you are trying to learn entrepreneurship, if you just go there and just suck up a ton of these recordings, you will learn a lot. So it's a very good starting point, actually, in your learning journey, or if you're trying to mentor somebody or a group to learn, this is a perfect place to start as well. Twitter. We are very active on Twitter. If you follow either at 1M1M or at Romana, you will continuously see interesting, educational, inspirational posts from us, and that's also a very good learning material base. If you're live tweeting today, please use hashtag 1M1M. And remember, this is a roundtable, not a broadcast. So we want you to participate, we want you to ask questions, weigh in, bring up issues that you want discussed, and so on and so forth. The call-in numbers are on your screen. We're not quite ready for calling in yet, but I will put the slide back up later in the program, and you're very welcome to call in and dialogue. So this is what I would like to start us out with, is a discussion about our Incubator-In-A-Box. And the reason I want to do that is because we launched Incubator-In-A-Box about roughly 5 years ago. And this is our platform on which a lot of companies and organizations have started doing their incubation efforts, or extending and expanding their incubation efforts on top of the Incubator-In-A-Box from 1 million by 1 million. So, and we've been getting a lot more interest in this particular offering. So I just want to explain to you how it works for those of you who are interested. And you can, look at the website. Maureen will put you, as we go along discussing this, Maureen will put links to the Incubator-In-A-Box in the public chat as well. So what we want to do here, or what we are doing here, is that we have our entire online incubation acceleration program, the 1 million by 1 million basic and 1 million by 1 million premium, and all the free resources that we offer available for you to extend or expand whatever program you are doing locally anywhere in the world, or virtually all over the world. So we offer a rich curriculum. this curriculum is not a pure financing-oriented curriculum. If you look at an incubator and accelerator curriculum, they tend to be financing-oriented, and they perpetuate the myth that entrepreneurship equals financing. We don't do that. This curriculum is focused on business building. Over 99% of the entrepreneurs who request financing, who seek financing, actually get rejected because most companies do not fit the framework of the hyper-fast growth, hyper-large TAM requirement of venture-funded startups. So, but that doesn't mean that these companies all are bad companies. They're not. Many of these can be sustainable companies, great companies, working on a niche, building $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, $20 million, $50 million company, which may not be sufficient to excite VCs, but it can be very good businesses. So not all good businesses are great investments for outside investors. So you need to think about your business in the context of the framework, entrepreneurship equals customers, revenues, and profits. Financing is optional, exit is optional. Now, there are many other types of financing besides equity financing. There is debt financing. There is receivables financing. There is inventory financing. There's all kinds of nuances of financing that you can tap into outside of venture financing, and you need to kind of understand all of those options as you're building your venture. So we work all of those nuances into our program and do not focus only on venture or angel financing. So you get all that in the curriculum, you get all that knowledge in the curriculum. We provide you with extensive online mentoring. The format that you will learn, you will be exposed to today, this online roundtable mentoring format, is our core format. We have private roundtables for our premium members only using this format as well. And then we also have very deep connections in Silicon Valley and elsewhere, and we can seamlessly introduce you to these kinds of connections, and that includes investors, customers, channel partners, media, analysts, other advisors, other mentors who have domain-specific knowledge in your space, and so on and so forth. So there's a very deep Rolodex surrounding us, and you do have access to that Rolodex, so that you can do what you need to do from wherever you are, but tap into Silicon Valley's deep bench. So you can add all this. If you have an existing incubation or an acceleration program somewhere in the world, you can add all this and just enhance your program. So think of it like it's an accelerated chip, for example. Let's say you have a computer, and the computer runs at a certain speed. Now, if you put in this acceleration chip, that computer becomes way more powerful. That's what 1 million by 1 million is. Now, if you're starting a program from scratch and you want to build your entire program on the 1 million by 1 million framework, that's fine too. You could also think of 1 million by 1 million incubator in a box another way. So there are a lot of incubators, accelerators, and co-working spaces out there right now. I would say probably many thousands, close to 10,000 is my guess, that offer space. You offer people to come and work in your space. It's a co-working space, but you call it incubator, you call it accelerator, but really what you're offering is real estate. You could take that model and put in 1 million by 1 million into it, and you have a full acceleration program. So you can, in that scenario, you can think of your real estate as hardware, and 1 million by 1 million as the operating system, and you put the two together, and if you have a full, powerful computer. And that's your incubator, that's your accelerator. So there are many ways of thinking about this, but the one way that is consistent is we are happy to partner with you and enhance your offering and enhance your resources for your community. So you can very easily, rapidly, affordably launch or extend an incubator or an accelerator in any part of the world on any scale, local scale, regional scale, global scale, continental scale, whatever scale you want to do it. Domain-specific accelerator, anything is fine, as long as you're working within IT and IT-enabled services. So that's our sweet spot. The next thing that I want to take you through are some examples of the types of acceleration partnerships that we do. So corporations is an obvious one. Corporations do three kinds of incubation work, acceleration work. One is internal innovation. So intrapreneurship is becoming popular. Corporations want to encourage intrapreneurs. So we have partnerships on this area, and our longest running and most successful partnership in this arena is with Oracle. 1Mby1M is Oracle's intrapreneurship partner across the entire company, and Oracle has over 140,000 people. Another way corporations are doing innovation is supporting external innovation. So they want to support a community of startups. They have an accelerator, and they want to support a community of startups. And we have done a lot of this work over the years. One that is currently active is NetApp. Maureen may want to provide the NetApp link where we discuss this partnership. This is basically NetApp has its own physical accelerator in Bangalore, and then they offer 1Mby1M scholarships to all the members of that accelerator. The third way that we do these partnerships, the corporate partnerships, is platforms. So if a corporation has a platform, and examples of that are things like SAP HANA, for example, is a platform, the software platform on which SAP is trying to encourage a lot of development. So when SAP HANA launched, 1Mby1M was their incubation acceleration partner. So entrepreneurs developing on HANA were getting 1Mby1M scholarships funded by SAP. So these are the three ways corporations partner. There is a fourth way which doesn't apply to all corporations, but it applies to some. So there are corporations whose primary customer base is small businesses, Intuit, for example. And they cater to large numbers of small businesses, and that is a category where also 1Mby1M is applicable if you're trying to nurture your community of customers, and that's a place where 1 Incubator-In-A-Box is a perfect partnership as well. So those are the ways corporations partner. Governments. So governments have today pretty much accepted everywhere in the world that entrepreneurship development is a very good way to do economic development. So many economic development offices have started incubators and accelerators. I would say our first partner in this category was the Delaware Economic Development Office, DEDO. Maureen will share the link with you so you can take a look at the DEDO work as well. So DEDO has been a partner of 1Mby1M for a while, and companies from the DEDO partnership are still in the program. Again, here, Delaware becomes the 1Mby1M partner, and then they give scholarships to 1Mby1M to Delaware entrepreneurs. We're also doing partnerships with incubators and accelerators in different parts of the world as well. And what that means is that you already have an incubator or an accelerator, or you're about to launch an incubator or an accelerator anywhere in the world, and you want to focus on IT and IT-enabled services. We can either help you launch, or we can expand and extend your incubation work within your community. And you can put as many companies through 1Mby1M as you like. Typically, the model is 1Mby1M Premium, which is a $1,000 annual membership fee program. And sometimes these programs that we're talking about are 3-month, 4-month, 6-month program. The 1 million premium is a 1-year program. But that's okay. You can give the membership. So even if your local program ends in 4 months or 3 months or 6 months, the virtual 1 million by 1 million support still remains active for the remaining period of the 1 million scholarship. So this is one of the, this is kind of some examples. These are some examples of how we are doing Incubator in a Box, and I thought it would be beneficial for you to hear this, a little more details of it, and give you a chance to ask questions. So I talked about Oracle. It's a very, very successful partnership. And Maureen, if you could please also share the link of the interview from last week's roundtable with Paolo Juvara, Group Vice President of Oracle Application Labs, who's the sponsor for the partnership with 1 million by 1 million. Paolo and I discussed in about a 30-minute discussion, that is a recorded discussion that Maureen will share the link to, about the details of the Oracle partnership. So you can listen to this one and you'll get a good feel for how we are running the 1 million by 1 million partnership, intrapreneurship partnership with Oracle. And it's, Paolo is very generous in discussing all the nuances of this partnership. So we are being very kind of open source about it so that people around the world can learn how this is being done. Now, on Delaware Economic Development Office, also, we had Ken Anderson from Delaware Economic Development Office come to one of these roundtables and discuss that partnership, and we had also presentations from the Delaware program some time back. Maureen will share that link as well in the public chat, so you'll have a sense of how that works. And I already talked about NetApp. I think Maureen has already shared the NetApp link. Let's see. Yeah, Maureen has already shared the NetApp link. So you have the NetApp link in public chat. You have the Incubator in a Box link, the overview page link. You have the internal innovation and intrapreneurship link. You have the platform vendors link. You have the government link. You have the Delaware Economic Development Office link. And you're going to get the video as well. You've got the Incubator in a Box for Accelerators link, and you've got the conversation with Paolo Juvara at Oracle link. So all of these are now in the public chat. You can save these. We'll actually try to provide you with all these links in the recap for today so that you have a good sense of all the different resources to follow to do your research on the offering from Incubator in a Box. Okay. So we're going to switch now to the entrepreneur pitch session, and then we'll come back to taking questions. So anything that you have questions on any of the discussion that we had so far, just line up your questions. You can start putting in your questions in public chat already, or you can dial in to chat with me. Either way is fine. We will take questions in a little bit. Let's do a couple of entrepreneur pitches. The first pitch, so actually before we go to the pitches, let me just set expectations here for a moment. This is a safe working session. We are on your side. We have absolutely no other agenda besides being on your side. So you can be completely relaxed. You don't need to be nervous. Just tell us what you're working on, what your roadblocks are, and we'll try to remove those roadblocks. That's the whole agenda here. It's okay if you disagree with feedback you get. That's not a problem. It's your venture. You're going to decide on what strategy you will follow. Just listen. We are giving you feedback based on deep experience, right? So you will benefit most likely from listening. And if I don't have the expertise to help you, I will tell you that. One thing you have to remember, not all businesses can raise money. not all businesses should raise money, and raising money doesn't guarantee success. So with that, let us get started. Vijay Viradia, you are going first. Please talk about integral insight technologies. Unmute your line and talk about your venture.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Hi Sarvana.
Hello.
Yeah. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And also thanks for Kelly for reminding me and helping me preparing these slides. So thank you very much for this program as well. So let me quickly start with myself. So myself, Vijay Viradia. I'm basically at Sunnyvale, California, and the thing is that we are in the IT services business. So we have started a business early in the 2015 in India. And over this year, in January, or not January, even I can say the February, this year 2018, we have started over here in US. So the firm name is Integral Insight Technologies, right? And we are basically in the IT services business. So we are targeting a small business, and we are working on websites, we are working on digital marketing, and we are working on the software. There are day-to-day workflows that can be converted into the software with the help of latest technologies. That might help them, either they can save money, they can save their time, or maybe they improve their quality based on the software. Right. Okay. So that is our things. Right. So that is the next slide. Yes. So this is the target customer. So our target customer is that who needs the website required, or maybe there is a website and they require with the latest technologies. The person that who wants to grow with the latest digital trends, digital media, digital marketing, like social media, search engine on that front. And those they have day-to-day business flows or day-to-day operations with their employees, or their product operations, product implementation, something like that. That can be converted digitally and some automated based on some software. So we create those softwares.
So, Vijay, how many people do you have? Do you have all this information somewhere later in the presentation?
Sorry?
Do you have somewhere in the presentation how many people you have, how big a company you are, etc.?
No. I think so. I just taken this format based on your slide.
That's fine. Yeah. So I'm just asking you, how many people do you have, and how big is the company?
Right. So we have 10 people, and are located in India, other than myself.
Where in India?
In Ahmedabad, Gujarat.
Okay.
Yep.
And how much revenue are you doing right now?
Not that good. Means, just we have kind of started. We have small businesses, and almost around 2 to 3 lakhs in rupees.
Per month?
No, year.
Year. Okay. So you have a ways to go. Very
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So generally, in India, that once we have started in 2015, and we worked for almost 2 years, 16 and 17, and based on the references and some networks that India is already having, myself and my other co-partners, and we got some good projects, and we have started on that work. So that is in India we got almost the work that we can do. But right now I started in the US. So the thing is that I'm stuck over here. So how can I get more customers? I try to pitch with the help of digital media. So that already we are doing. So we already started for our marketing for our site. Also, we have started for email marketing, right? And also we have started I'm just getting some small businesses from the different dictionaries like Google's or maybe Yelp, and then I'm personally calling them and asking them, okay, we are providing these services. If you are interested, then we can provide good values for your business and something kind of that. And also I'm targeting almost 2 businesses per week, a personal visit. So at least I go over there and check, okay, what they need, something like that. This is the way that I'm doing since last 2 months. But yeah, I didn't get much more success on that. So I might need your help. How can I go further, something like that?
Yes, your go-to-market strategy needs a lot of work. I'm going to guide you on that. Let's finish your presentation, and then I'm going to talk to you about how to go about it. Go ahead.
Correct. Okay. So, based on the network in India, so we got the good amount of customers, good number of customers, like 20 plus customers, and deal is average almost around 12 to 15,000 per website or the software, something like that, for each customer. And those are means like that. We work for various domains. Like, so we have restaurants. We work with the restaurants. We work with some legal advisors. We work with some visa. We work with some what can say automations, automobile industries. So I think we have worked for different clients are there. So from domain-wise, I think we got to know the different activities, different from the different domains. But yeah, and customer base is also, we can say in the 2 years I thought maybe, I'm not sure, but we got some good amount of customers. But yeah, but our goal right now in the 2018 is to grab the customer from US. So at least we can accelerate our growth.
Okay.
Yep.
So
yeah.
Let's go back to your go-to-market strategy. See, the problem is you are offering very generic services to a community of customers who are overwhelmed by this kind of services. So on a daily basis, for example, I receive probably 5 emails from services companies who are looking to provide services like this, and whether it's digital marketing services, website services, testing, blah, 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 blah. And I have no interest in even opening these emails. So the strategy that you're following is not going to work in the US at all. What will work is if you develop some core competency around a particular software and a particular function where you want to build expertise, and then you go into the ecosystem of that particular software's customers. For example, in the small business world, Zoho is a very popular tool. I don't know how well you know Zoho, but Zoho has a whole suite of tools, including digital marketing, campaign management, and CRM and all that. And Zoho integration and managing Zoho, installations for small businesses is a reasonable requirement for a lot of small businesses. So if you develop core competency in that, Zoho has a very large customer base. So that is an area where you can build, reasonable, expertise, as well as potentially you can build a business. Now then the question is, so Zoho is not the only one. There are many other different types of software around which you can build similar practices. You have to pick one. I would advise you to pick one, develop deep core competency, and you can build a very substantial practice around that, and then you can broaden as you grow larger. You can, maybe you build a company of 50 people doing one type of work, and then the next 50 you go to another type of another software, etc. There's many ways of growing a business like that. Now, how to acquire customers, the way you're doing it is, in our parlance here, we call it spray and you're basically randomly hitting up people. You have no understanding of whether they have need or not. what I would like you to do is to go understand how sites like Upwork.com works, Freelancer.com works. There are these sites where you can, 99 Designs is another one if you have skills in design. That's another one. So those are the kinds of places where people small businesses who have needs to hire your kinds of services go to look for vendors. So what I would like you to do are a few specific concrete steps. I would like you to go set yourselves up in Upwork, Freelancer, etc., and learn how those work. Figure out from the kinds of projects that are being listed there, what software are people looking for integration and support for. You will see Zoho everywhere. Zoho is very big in that community, but there are other types of software that are in that community as well, where people are looking for services, so you can get a feel for what your options are. And then pick one and register yourselves as experts in that, and you may have to go through some training and so forth. The vendor, whether it's Zoho or somebody else, will provide you with that training. You learn that, and then through those offerings, they probably have lots of free online offerings for their support people, developers, integration partners, etc. And that's the way I would build your company. The way you're trying to build your company is not going to work.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
So, and to do all this, actually, you don't really need to be in Sunnyvale. You can be in Ahmedabad, and that's just fine, because being in Sunnyvale is also expensive.
Right.
The way you can take advantage of being in Sunnyvale, if you want to be in Sunnyvale, is you can. There are all these meetups, startup meetups that happen all over the place, and you can start going to these meetups, and like we have our meetup every week. You could come to these meetups, and there are many other meetups in the Bay Area. It's rich in meetups. You can go to a lot of these meetups and meet people and talk to people. But I think the most effective way that you would develop this business is by developing a core competency and going to an Upwork, Freelancer.com, etc., and bidding for projects there and making sure you win projects there, and developing a reputation, reference base, and so forth on those platforms.
Okay, yeah, I think, yeah, thanks, yeah, thanks for that, yeah.
And the other thing that I would recommend you do is learn methodology of how to build a business. And for that, you can use 1Mby1M. I will discuss that a little bit later in the program on how to use 1Mby1M to develop. 1Mby1M is like a little MBA for entrepreneurs. So if you go through that, you will basically learn how to build a business. I have given you some starting points, but there are a lot of details of a business building process that you are missing right now, methodology gaps. You will need to figure out a way to plug those. And 1Mby1M is one way for you to do that.
Yes. So the thing is that actually I'm from the a delivery person, so just learning the business, yeah. I think, yeah, so this platform, I'm sure that will help me.
You see, my belief is that actually it's much easier for a software person to learn the business side than vice versa. If you have no technical background whatsoever, learning technology is not that easy. But learning the business part for somebody who already has technology background is very doable. If you're willing to study, I assume that you are willing to study. You will have to study because you have a lot of learning to do.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. All right, so hang on. We will take more questions in a bit, and I will discuss how to use the program in a bit as well.
Thanks, Sarna. Yeah.
Okay. We are going to go to actually Mahesh Sharma's pitch next. Now, Mahesh Sharma is actually an Oracle intrapreneur. Remember how we were discussing Oracle's intrapreneurship program in the context of Incubator-In-A-Box just now? Mahesh Sharma is part of Oracle's program, and this morning he sent me, he was at the private roundtable, for members-only roundtable yesterday, and he discussed a certain amount of material, and then I gave him feedback, and then as he was reflecting on that feedback, he came up with a bunch of ideas, and he sent me an email. So when I woke up this morning, I read his email, and it was, I think, at about 7 a.m. Pacific time. So I immediately told him that if you can, come to the roundtable so we can talk through this. And so Maureen put him on the schedule for a discussion today. So this is how 1Mby1M works. We're very available and very approachable, you know. So you can, not only is this very safe, it's also a very available, very accessible resource that you can access from anywhere in the world. Notice Mahesh is in Bangalore, right? So, okay, Mahesh, what I would like you to do is give a little bit of an overview of what you're doing so that everybody in the room can follow along, and then we can jump to your specific questions that you emailed me with this morning. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ramana, and sorry for the very short notice.
Perfect. No problem. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm Mahesh Sharma. I work with Oracle. This is my 11th year there. So I'm into the fall batch of 2017. I have been working on this idea called Development and Support Assistant for quite some time now, and this is my third pitch. I have pitched twice earlier, and each revised pitch is based on the feedbacks that I have received from the respective pitches. So this is the second revision that I have brought into. So can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah. So I'm trying out an approach which is based on artificial intelligence and machine learning to enhance customer experience by way of improving the employee experience. Can we move to the next slide, please? So this is how it works. How a user goes by using an enterprise application or any sort of application is logged by the various systems like application performance management systems or application analytics systems or web analytics systems. So they generate a sort of log file of all the user actions happening within a product. So my idea is to process it, mine it using machine learning and artificial intelligence, and extract and reconstruct the user flows, several user flows that can happen within one single product, and map them with the historical issues that have happened at each point of the user flow, and rank these user flows in the order of the most preferred user flow for a product, all the way to the least preferred user flow for the product. So, can we move to the next slide, please? So, my idea of a product, this development and support assistant can be used for the following things: issue resolution, new features development, and enhancements. The next slide, please. Yeah, so here is an illustrative scenario of how this solution works for when an issue comes in. So the customer logs a service request for an issue. The support would do its own classification and routing, and then it would come to my framework, which would throw out the following information. One is the exact flow where the exact issue is mapped, or the second would be the exact issue mapped in similar flows, and then the similar issues in exact flows and the similar issues in similar flows, or if it's a totally new issue, it would be mapped at the appropriate point in the user flow. Now, based on each of these scenarios, the support can work on its own and close the ticket if the scenario is something like the exact issue has already happened in the exact flow, And in the other scenarios, they can perceive it and analyze it and later push it to the development teams for them to analyze and look into this problem. So in such cases, they would typically log a bug and it would go to the developments bucket. In the developments bucket, what this framework will do is that it would give the similar set of results like how it gave to the support, but it would go deeper now, which would help them, help the development teams to do the root cause analysis. And after root cause analysis, when they are trying out, I beg your pardon, when they are coming up with a solution, the provision for an impact analysis. Once a conceptual solution is made, it goes to the QA for regression testing, because this also offers provisions for regression analysis. So once the QA has done the regression testing, the solution would be optimized and the bug would be closed. And not only that, the bug like this, this closed bug would be learned again by the system, so that when the next issue comes in, the relevant information from this bug gets offered to the different teams when the next issue comes in or a new issue comes in. Can we move to the next slide, please? So these are the typical integrations in this ecosystem. The pillars, of course, are the application performance management and application analytics log files, and along with that, the bug database. These two form the pillars of this ecosystem. And the secondary integrations would be the knowledge base as well as the support application. The knowledge base, the APMs and the bug database form the historical context, and the support application, the applications by which a ticket is raised, becomes the real context. And all of them would be processed, and the different results would be would come out through the interface to different teams. The next slide, please. So these are some of the benefits that each stakeholder or each user of this application would get. Let's start with support. Support would be able to screen the issues or resolve the issues faster. The development would be able to do root cause analysis and the impact analysis and the regression analysis not only faster but in a robust way also, and because of all this, the issues also will get resolved faster. Now, for the QA, typically in a QA environment, what happens is that QA generally does not have an idea as to the all the different ways in which a product is used by the customer. So their test cases typically would be based upon the FDD. So they would have one fundamental test case and very few variances from that test case. So what this application would do for the QA is that it would give them all the real-world scenarios for them to develop more robust test cases, which would ultimately help the development to do what's it called? A regression analysis. And moreover, more number of issues would be uncovered during the testing cycle, the pre-release times. So the number of internal bugs would go up and the number of external bugs would go down. Now for the product management or the strategy teams, this gives insights for the prioritization of features development as well as enhancements. So for them, it will be like lesser time to market. And subsequently for the UI design teams, what these insights on which flows or which features are used by the users the most, and all the way to which features are not used at all, that entire range of insights would help them design the product better from a UI perspective. Now for the organization, it's improved customer experience, increased sales, and a lot of savings on time, effort, and cost. and ultimately lots of revenue. Next slide, please. So these are some of the use cases that I have written for each of the stakeholders. The first one is for support. The goal for support is faster issue resolution and faster issue screening. So how does this application help in support achieving their goal? Is that it plots the issue on the relevant user flow and also gives the most relevant search material. Okay. Someone is asking what kind of customer validation that I have done. Can I answer that after the presentation?
Finish your presentation, and you can answer the questions a bit later. So I'll give you, I'll moderate it. Why don't you finish your presentation? Don't break your flow. Keep going.
Okay. All right. Can we move to the next slide, please? So this is the one for development. For them, it's faster root cause analysis, faster and robust regression analysis, faster issue resolution, and one more point I should add, actually, faster impact analysis. So how it is done is pretty much the same way how we did for the support, just that in this case, the searches or the information made available to development would be much deeper. So typically what happens is the manifestation of an issue at one point is where the error occurs, but the issue would have happened in some of in the prior action points. So those action points and wherever the previous points and the issues that have happened there historically would be made available to them for them to do the research and arrive upon a faster root cause analysis, faster root cause. Now, one more point for development is that this works very differently in on-premise systems and cloud. On-premise, typically, it's a specific solution for a specific customer. So the need for impact analysis or regression analysis is a little less. But for the cloud, it's a generic solution, so the need for a regression analysis is more. So in both cases, this would help the development. Can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah, for the QA, it's pretty much development of more real-world scenarios to their test cases, so that they can do they can cover as many number of features they can and help the development with the regression analysis. Next slide, please. So for product management, it's like how fast they can prioritize with this insight on the new features development as well as enhancements. So not only for the prioritization, they can analyze the features that they are designing based upon the historical issues and the impact on other features that are already available, and that way they can have a lesser time to the market. The next slide, please. For the UX, it's like the statistics pretty much on who is using most features, who is using lesser features, or which features are being used more or which features are being used less. So that way they can do some adjustments on their design. Can you go to the next slide, please?
Just a second. Yeah. Before you go to this conservative estimate analysis, why don't we take Samir Penkar's question from the public chat? He's asking, Mahesh, what kind of customer validation have you done? Have you asked these stakeholders if this would be helpful to them? What was their feedback? Why don't you answer the question, Mahesh? It's a very good question, and it's a very relevant question.
Okay. So I did it in 2 stages. One, I started asking around the various teams that I knew here within my division first, and then other divisions and the collaborating divisions like that within Oracle. Mm-hmm. And then I went out to other companies. I have listed the customers with whom I have validated in the subsequent slides. So I categorized these companies into product-based companies and service-based companies. I made it a point to speak to the development teams, the product management teams, QA teams, strategy teams, even sales teams, and support teams in all these companies. So the numbers that you will see in the subsequent slides are all based on actuals. Actually, they have quoted more than this, but I have taken a conservative view of what it would be saving for them. So how I did that was that I explained to them the concept of this framework and asked them, if you have this framework with you, how will it help you? What will be your savings, and in what terms it would be? So, and I had certain crude use cases for each of them, but as and when I started talking to them more and more, my use cases also started getting into a certain nice shape rather from the crude versions. So it was an iterative process, and it's based on their feedback that I have proceeded. Samir, does that answer your question? I also designed a survey, which I asked some of these people to fill in.
So now I suggest, Mahesh, you walk people through this model that you've created on what kind of savings would you deliver if this were rolled out inside of Oracle based on all the validation work that you've done.
Okay. So I divided my audience into two. One is support, and I clubbed the dev, QA, and PM into the other bucket.
Yeah.
I estimated the number of support people in Oracle as well as the other set. The numbers were quite more, but I accounted, for example, for the support, it was around 21,000 plus. I did an estimation on how many of them would actually be working actively on issues, and how many would be in the management and administration and the other activities. So from 21,000, I came down to 13,000. Similarly, I did for Dev, QA, and PM. So 13,000 and 32,500 are the people approximately who are actively working on issues. Now, all of them are regular employees, so they work 8 hours a day for 5 days a week. So the total available hours are about 40. I took some percentage off for effective as effective work hours. The 8 hours that I took out, 1/5 of that I took out of it is for that I accounted for correspondence and meetings and other administrative activities. So I have effectively cut down the total number of available hours to 32 per week. Now, many of them were saying, okay, this would save about 6 to 7 hours per week. But I had taken a little less than what they have said as 3 hours. So it's a straight away 10%, a little less than 10% savings. So then I converted it into the hours saved into number of people per year. So it came down to about 1872000 and that much in hours. Then
so,
I put yeah.
You put a
yeah,
savings at $10
in hours.
a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that rolls up to about a $65 million savings model, and even that you've adjusted down to a more conservative number. Let's say about rounded off $60 million US dollars in savings. Now, what is the investment? How much development is needed to build this infrastructure? If, let's say we had no other client, just Oracle, we want to save $62 million in savings just within Oracle. What is the investment required to get to that?
It's around about 24 million split over 2 years.
24 million?
Yep.
You have to invest $24 million to do this.
but that's for making it so generic to be sold to others. I have not worked for only Oracle yet. I was thinking more like how to make it in a robust so that it can be sold outside. So yeah, I went with actually a flamboyant plan. But if I have to cut it down, so I was having 4 teams working on, working from 4 different directions. So if I'm making it for Oracle, it would be about 1 team which would do in one single way. So that would mean exactly half, 6 million.
6 million.
Yeah,
Okay.
6
million investment that translates into $60 million a year in savings is a reasonable case that you can make. So even if we were not to do anything outside, it would still be an interesting thing to consider for Oracle, provided none of the competitors are offering anything like that. So that's, take that as one point to explore. Then let's do the rest of your presentation. So you're going to talk about, now we're talking about taking this outside of Oracle, like so developing it for Oracle, but then taking it and selling it to other companies. Talk about your customer segmentation and your TAM, business model and TAM.
Sure. Can we just go back to the previous slide once?
Sure.
So then there is, see, not only the savings, I was speaking with the account managers and the sales teams who told me that they would get immediate opportunities based on the increased customer satisfaction. So they actually gave me a number of about 2 to 5% on an optimistic scale of increased revenue, software license revenue that is doable because of this. I took an estimate of 0.5% of increased revenue, not 2, not 5, not 1, just 0.5. The 0.5 comes to about $160 million.
This is the impact that you're saying is just on Oracle.
Just on Oracle. So the total savings plus earnings.
So you should put that into the slide, and you should also put in here, right here, you should put in that you're estimating about a $6 million investment over a 2-year period to come up with this software that would result in this kind of impact on Oracle alone. So if it's just done as an internal thing, and in fact, I would be very curious to see, before I send you to Paolo, I'm going to go through the due diligence here with you and give you more feedback. But when you go up to Paolo, I would be very curious to see if Paolo says that, okay, let's do it, and let's just roll it out inside of Oracle, and we'll see what happens. Because there is a case for doing this just as an internal process improvement based on the kinds of numbers you're quoting. So make a full case for that, and then we'll go to the next level of it.
All right. So
the only thing that is missing in that is this not available from outside? Can Oracle not spend like $500,000 or $250,000 to buy this kind of infrastructure from some other vendor instead of putting in $6 million in 2 years worth of development to do this? That's one question that I would ask if I were Paolo.
All right. I think I'm addressing that in the last few slides.
Okay, so keep going.
Okay, so this is a customer segmentation that I have done. I'm at this point of time focusing only on enterprise applications. So my segment would be the product companies who would be making it, and the services companies who would be selling and customizing it on the product company's behalf. Can we move to the next slide, please? The business model is SaaS. It's a monthly subscription program. Semana, based on our yesterday's discussion, I have further diluted, but I did not get time to put those numbers here. Okay. You said okay, before that, let me just explain what this is all about. So I went to it was a painstaking exercise to figure out these numbers from the different companies, different players, and segment it into all this. I basically took a methodology of those people who would be taking less than 5,000 licenses and those people who would be taking more than 5,000 licenses. The pricing would be different for both. There is also a very elaborate methodology of arriving upon this pricing.
Spreadsheet, that is a detailed spreadsheet on this.
Yes. So these are actuals. Nothing is inflated. In fact, I have played most of them down, all of them, in fact. So yesterday you were saying this you asked me to have a look at the ratio once again, one license per how many number of people. So today I spent quite some time in speaking to people. Should it be 1:5? How more can we go, or how less we can go in that sense? So 1:8 is the bottom that I can go here.
Okay, fine.
Rather than 1:5, that's it's 1:8 for the product companies.
As long as you can defend all your assumptions, it's great.
Yeah.
If you can defend 1:5, it's great. If you can defend 1:8, that is fine too. So explain to everybody what you've done here in terms of your model. So folks, this is a good TAM model. You're going to have to learn how to do bottom-up TAM analysis, all of you who are doing startups. Every single person will need to learn the methodology of how to do bottom-up TAM analysis. Mahesh has learned that methodology, has applied that methodology to his particular business, and he's explaining to you how he has done it. So listen to him.
Just before that, when I first calculated TAM, it was based on Gartner and Statistica.com. That was a top-down thing. It goes something like, okay, so many trillions are your business, and that's your market. So that's how I first came.
And irrelevant, useless. Yeah. Top down is completely irrelevant, completely useless.
So in my first pitch, Sramana cut me there and asked me to do the bottom up. Luckily, that was my next slide. So, but this went into a lot of iteration. This is the third one that I'm saying. So what I did was I looked at the market share of these companies, product companies. So I saw that the top 10 controls about 47% of market share, and all the others put together are getting the rest of the market, about 53%. So I went to most of these companies, all the companies' websites and Wikipedia, wherever I could get their total employee number, and in some cases the individual team numbers were also there. So I put in those numbers, like I'm only looking at dev plus support strength, not their entire total number of employees over there. If you look, if you remember in the previous slide where I had put in the analysis for Oracle, the dev plus support strength was coming to about 45,500, whereas Oracle's total strength is, I think, 1,38,000 something. So similar assumptions were made on them, and on those companies which did not exclusively give away the dev plus support numbers. So I have arrived upon the larger companies, or those companies which would take more than 5,000 licenses or more, as 3,90,167, and for those companies which would take lesser than 5,000 licenses, it's like 4,38,734. Similarly for service.
Let me summarize this quickly so that people can understand and we can move on. We don't have to go to every detailed cell. So basically, you have a categorization of the different segments. There are 4 segments here in the type column, and in each category, there's development and support and the number of people in each of those categories. He has done 2 segments by size of the companies and come up with numbers of how many people are going to be buying these licenses, using these licenses. And then we've taken a ratio of, okay, if there's a team of, you know, how many people. Yeah, if this one shows that there are 5 people in a particular team that are using each license, or if there's 1 license per 5 people, there's a, basically a number of licenses to ratio. So this column, the 4th column here, is that adjustment by ratio. And then there's a pricing number. Again, there's a pricing has an adjustment for the larger versus the smaller companies. And that comes up with the revenue per month for that particular segment. And then you have the annual revenue per segment. By the way, when you roll it all up in the bottom summary, where you're saying you have a TAM of $700 million US, this is an annual TAM of $700 million US. So now you're going to take this slide based on my feedback, you're going to adjust it down to 1/8 from 1/5 and 1/7. And that
I
will
already have
reduce,
the numbers.
Yeah, you're going to adjust the numbers, and it's going to be somewhere in the, $500-600 million USD. Huh?
That's right. 500 million USD.
500 million USD annual. So that's
and service companies I have diluted down to 1:10 from 1:7.
All right. So that's what's the TAM. So this is if we take it outside of Oracle and actually sell it to other customers. That's what's happening here. Now, now comes the question of what is the competition out there on this kind of stuff. So go ahead.
Okay. So many companies, all the APM companies or the web analytics or application analytics companies actually sit on this data of user flow. But their focus is performance management. Theirs is not, they are not into the business of extracting user flows and selling it to people. I had a hard time figuring out why they are not selling this, because they are more or less sitting on this data. It's quite tedious to take out that data, but I thought they had a market for it. And I went and subscribed to these competitors to see how their product works. All of them, by the way, have free subscription time. For a month, you can use it for free. So they do offer some part of what I'm using. See, I basically am splitting my framework into 2. One is user flow extraction. Second is mapping of issues and mapping of historical context to those user flows. All these competitors can, in future, if they decide to, come up with an offering which would give the user flows. May not be in a rank form, but they can still give the user flows to their customers. But will someone buy it? That was a big question. And it's a lot of investment to extract that particular information in that format from the mountains of data in their user logs. So that is when I decided I would go ahead and try my model. So these are the main players in the APM
potential competitors.
arena.
None of them are real competitors. Actually, none of them are direct competitors, but these people could move into the space based on what they have.
Yes. So I would bring in my USP. My only USP here is that I do a mapping of historical issues because I'm integrating it with my bug database. That's my issues database, as well as my knowledge base. Yeah. So any user flow would be divided into a lot of points, a lot of action points, and each of these action points would be mapped with the issues that have occurred here over the years. And what were the remedies, what are the additional notes that have been fed into, knowledge points that have been fed into each of these points for any different actions that has happened here. So that is the critical piece of information that would help the support, the dev, the QA, and the product management, and okay, not in this case, not UI. So that mapping would create the historical context, and that historical context would be used to analyze and help with the real-time context, real context. So an issue comes in, this historical context would help with the analytics and analysis for the new issue or the issue that has just come in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a new slide. This I did not have yesterday. This is something that I thought today and mailed you. So this is the USP for this. So immediately or in near future, I don't have any threat with from any of these competitors because of this point alone. Can we move to the next slide, please?
This is actually very good, Mahesh. This actually addresses the key concern that people would have, your management would have in addressing this. If you can defend the fact that okay, we have something which people cannot just slide into your space because of such and such reason, and I think you're making a decent case for that. So
yesterday, when you give me your feedback, I knew this, but it did not come through at that point of time.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Let's say tongue-tied or something. Yeah.
Okay,
so
good.
let's move to the next one, please.
I'm actually quite comfortable with all this. The thing that's now.
Okay, this is just to show how difficult it would be for the future for those competitors to even extract the user flow.
Okay.
Okay, that's just to strengthen my case. They have to go through all this heavy pre-processing, which takes the most amount of time to standardize the data. Then data mining using machine learning, and then taking out and arranging the mined pieces of information into one flow, and that's using AI, and again using AI to compare these flows with each other to figure out the variances and the standard deviations, and then reconstructing flows and taking account and ranking them.
Okay.
It sounds very easy when I say let's. So that's why none of them would invest in that so soon. Why? I will say. So none of those competitors are in that stage yet, and even if they have to go through, they have to go through the actions described in the previous slide. Now, initially when I was conceptualizing this, these were two different ideas that I had. One is to take out the user flow, and one is an intelligent system for on BugDB. I think if you remember my very first presentation in February, it did not have this shape. It sounded like different, and it was totally obtuse. But when I was finding use cases for, okay, would someone buy, I was thinking, okay, is there a market for this user flows alone? If I just extract user flows and give it to any of the stakeholders, everyone was interested, but none of them were ready to pay for it. So if you remember in one of the roundtables I asked, they are not addressing any pain, they are just vitamins. So you told me to concentrate on pain, vitamins don't sell. Okay, so that's when I combined these two solutions and found the pain for each of the stakeholders.
Right, okay, good. So one stylistic feedback, Mahesh, this is all good that you've thought this through. Now try to put this slide, distill this slide into 5 bullet points, and you can provide voiceover for all the details, because this is too much text for one slide.
Oh yeah, I was just copy pasting from the mail I sent you.
Okay, all right. So for now, I think this is looking good, Mahesh. So I think if you do a little bit more work to clean this up, it's getting ready. And you're talking about the validation that you've done. That's excellent. You can talk through all that you learned from that. I would put the validation slide earlier on in the presentation. You know, almost like at the point where you're doing the use cases, where you got the question from Samir about validation. That's probably the point where you should put this validation slide and talk through it, where you derive the use cases and the numbers from, and then present the numbers so you have more credibility there. And then the only thing that is missing from this is your ROI analysis slide, which is the cost-benefit analysis. So that's the next thing that you need to insert here.
Okay, I'll add in the Oracle this thing. Okay, fine.
All right. Okay, that was Very intense, right? I hope you learned something from that exercise of, multiple iteration, going through a multiple iteration on a particular idea that evolved through a period of time. So, the way Mahesh has evolved his presentation is by using a combination of the curriculum, which is how he learned methodology, and then, these roundtables where he got feedback on what to work on next. So that's basically how you are going to be learning as well. If you're going to join the program, is using the methodology training and the roundtable project-based feedback in tandem, and people are making enormous progress. If you do that well, if you do that diligently, you will learn a lot, you'll make enormous progress. I have no doubt, because now it's a completely validated model that we have been running for 8 years, and we've trained thousands of entrepreneurs using this methodology. If you like what we're doing here, please bring 10 serious entrepreneurs, your friends and family, into 1Mby1M so that they can avail of this training as well. And in terms of resources, everything is at 1Mby1M.com. We have a terrific blog, which is free. Just by following the blog, you'll learn a lot. The Entrepreneur's Journeys book series is a series of 12 books. You can learn from that. It's case study based, 12 to 16 case studies per book. You'll learn a lot through that. These roundtables happen every week. You can keep attending, and all the recordings are available in our YouTube channel. You can learn through those. The full acceleration program from 1Mby1M is 1M/1M Premium. That's a $1,000 annual membership fee program. We offer you extensive methodology guidance. We have a terrific curriculum. We have, many hundred hours worth of curriculum at this point. We are adding every year, we're adding many hundred hours of curriculum at this point. So it's a very intense curriculum, and you can, for pretty much anything you're doing within IT and IT-enabled services, you're going to learn a ton from the curriculum. You can focus on specific topics. And so far, there's a complete description of the curriculum on the website. You can go through that and see what you're going to be learning. We do help you with business development. If you have contacts in what you're doing, we will open our Rolodex for you, whether that's customers, channel partners, investors, media, analysts, other advisors, other mentors, all of that are fine. We help you with financing if you are fundable. We'll have to work with you to get you to a fundability stage if your business has those characteristics, but then we do have an intense network of investors who work with us, and we will, we introduce our entrepreneurs to those investors as soon as they're ready. The 1M/1M self-assessment is a set of questions that I would like you to ask yourselves about your business. These are questions that investors would ask you. We're just providing you this questionnaire so that you can role play and figure out that you are, getting those questions answered before you go to investors. This is an exercise that you should do internally before you go to investors. If you get stuck on methodology questions, go to 1M/1M Basic and just do curriculum modules and learn the methodology, fill those gaps. For very little money, $99 a month, you can basically learn all this material and become a vastly more sophisticated entrepreneur, especially if you're coming from development background. It will take you 10 years to learn all this if you do trial and error and try to figure all these out. You don't need to figure all this out. There are ways of learning it, so just go to the curriculum and learn it. And you will save hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yesterday we had a rendezvous, in-person rendezvous, and one of our premium members, Haram Singh, was saying that if he had started using this program in 2010, he would have literally saved hundreds of thousands of dollars in mistakes that he has made, that he wouldn't have made had he just gone through these things. Mistake after mistake you will avoid just by, using the methodology. So go dig around on the website, look at what to expect from premium, what to expect from basic. There are lots of FAQs, video FAQs, and so forth. With full description of the curriculum, and the whole program is case study based. There are over 800 case studies of successful entrepreneurs, 50+ unicorn companies, 400+ venture funded companies, 350+ bootstrap success stories. You learn, you stand on other people's shoulders who have done it before and have very generously come here and given you guidance. So take that guidance and just learn and accelerate your journey. Don't waste a lot of learning and mistake money. You know, these hundreds of thousands of dollars of mistake money, you can save that. By spending $100 a month or $1,000 a year, you will save hundreds of thousands of dollars of mistake money. The methodology here is lean, capital-efficient bootstrap startups. The mantra is bootstrap first, raise money later. And that is because that's how the industry operates. No one's going to fund your concept. You're going to have to get to a validated business before anyone will fund you. Okay, so that's it. There are 2 roundtables in May, May 3rd and May 10th. I am traveling in May, and I'll be back in early June. But before I leave, we're going to do a milestone event, the 400th roundtable on Wednesday, May 16th. And I hope you will all come and celebrate with us for that session. Now, we also do in-person rendezvous, as some of you may have discovered already. So those are coming up on Wednesday, May 2nd, Sunday, May 6th, and Wednesday, May 16th. And please make sure to sign up for those, and I hope to meet you in some of them. Okay, we have a bit of time for a Q&A. Please feel free to dial in to the dial-in number and ask any questions that you would like to. And the public chat is also open for Q&A right now. Happy to answer any questions from the audience. Opal, Bernard, you can either dial in or ask questions in public chat. Either way is fine. I see you've raised your hand to ask questions. Please do. And while you're lining up your questions or dialing in, let me also introduce you to Irina Patterson, who will answer any questions you might have after this session on the 1M by1M program, on Incubator-In-A-Box, anything that you may want to talk to her about by phone or email, by Skype, anything you want. She'll be available to answer your questions. Okay. Samir Penkar says, good session, digging into Mahesh's idea was wonderful. Great. I'm glad you found that helpful. See, the whole philosophy of 1M1M is case study-based learning. So every session you're seeing case studies being worked on, and you're reading all these case studies of successful entrepreneurs in the curriculum. That's how you learn. You learn from the peer group, and you learn from the mentors whose case studies are already available to you to study. And it's incredibly powerful, and it's working magically well. All right, questions, folks? Anybody on the call? Anybody planning to dial in? Opal, would you like to dial in? Would you like to ask questions in public chat? I know, Opal, you're from Jamaica because we received your email expressing interest in building a curriculum, building an incubator in Jamaica, in the Caribbean. And we are thrilled to be working with you. You know, I really have an incredible passion for seeing these remote communities who don't normally have access come up and get immediately plugged into Silicon Valley through the program and operate at the same level of sophistication as Silicon Valley entrepreneurs. It's fascinating for me to see that. It's wonderful for us to empower that kind of, powerful economic development through entrepreneurship anywhere in the world. So we love doing projects like this. So just this week, we've received queries for similar economic development agendas and entrepreneurship development agendas from the Caribbean, from Opal Bernard, from Jamaica. We got a query from Colombia. We got a query from Romania. So it's been really, really wonderful to see all these communities starting to get organized and equipped to deal with their talent in a powerful human resource development mode. And the corporations are doing a great job empowering that as well. They're getting to work with a lot of corporations around this. Any questions? No? Nobody has questions? Really? All right. If you don't have questions, then we're going to adjourn the session. It was a very intense session. Opal, you can't get your mic to work. Did you dial in? You're not going to be able to talk unless you dial into the phone line. If you don't dial into the phone line, the other way to ask questions is by typing your question. Make sure you send your question to all participants in this public chat, and you can type in your question. If you want to talk, you have to dial into the phone number here, 650-479-3208, country code 1, and then access code 666-413-890. Mahesh, you have a question from Samir Penkar, who's asking, have you given any thought to what your minimum viable product would be? You can answer in the public chat, Mahesh. You don't have to dial in again. Opal, are you trying to dial in, or are you trying to type in your question in public chat? If you let us know, we will know what to expect. Okay, Opal is typing his question. Very good. Anybody else? Any other questions, comments? Opal is asking, do you give feedback to incubators on an entrepreneur performance? So Opal, the way we manage these programs is that there is going to be one person from the incubator or accelerator who is the manager of that program. So you get to, whoever is that manager, let's say you are going to be the manager of your incubator or accelerator, you get to participate in the roundtables with your entrepreneurs. The program that you are managing, when entrepreneurs are coming to the roundtables, you're welcome to join the roundtables, and you can track the performance of every single entrepreneur all throughout the program. So if you just make it a point to attend all the private roundtables, you will basically have the feedback on the gradual progression of your entrepreneurship cohort. Does that answer your question? Anybody else? All right, folks. We are going to adjourn the session for today, and we will meet you back here next time. I hope you enjoyed the session and keep coming back, keep making lots of progress. And those of you who joined the program, we look forward to working with you. Bye-bye.